All right, we'll begin. Welcome to our Committee of Adjustments meeting, July the 8th, 2025. Please note that this meeting is being broadcast and recorded. Recordings will be made available on the town's YouTube channel. This time, I will remind everyone here to please turn your cell phones off or put them on vibrate. This time, I'll introduce the folks that we have here today. I'll begin with my immediate left, our Chief Administrative Officer, Adam Sabansky, our Planning Technician, Mackenzie Baird, our Senior Planner, Maria Rossi, and our Planner, Jordan Wallace. Our committee today, to my right, Committee Member Jennifer Turk, to my left, Deputy Mayor Nettie McEwen, and to her left, Les Goldhawk, Committee Member. I'll remind our committee, if you have any pecuniary interests, please report them at the appropriate time. I have a motion here by Les Goldhawk, seconded by Ned McEwen, that the minutes of the regular Committee of Adjustments meeting held June 10th, 2025 be approved and presented. All those in favor? That motion is carried. We'll begin with our first application. Minor variance application A-0525. Take notice that the application has been made by Jesse and Justine Thompson with respect to the property known as Plan 12 Lot 28 ROW, Town of Plympton-Wyoming, 6738 Pheasant Lane. The subject property is zone residential 59 R59. The following variances from zoning bylaw 97 of 2003 have been requested for a proposed detached garage. One, a variance of approximately 18.51 square meters, 199.24 square feet to permit the lot coverage of the accessory buildings to be approximately 111.51 square meters, 1,200.28 square feet, notwithstanding the maximum combined lot coverage of all detached accessory buildings of 93 square meters, 1,001.04 square feet as per section 3.3.4 subsection A2. And number two, a variance of approximately 0.56 meters, 1.84 feet, permit the main floor ceiling clearance to be approximately 3.66 meters, 12 feet, notwithstanding the required maximum main floor ceiling clearance of 3.1 meters, 10.17 feet, as per section 3.3.4 subsection B 4.1. And number three, a variance of approximately 3.19 meters, 10.47 feet to permit the maximum driveway width for the total lot to be approximately 12.19 meters, 40 feet, to accommodate the existing driveway of approximately 7.62 meters, 25 feet, and a proposed second driveway to the structure of approximately 4.57 meters, 15 feet, notwithstanding the total maximum driveway width of 9 meters, 29.53 feet, as per section 3.25.7 subsection B. At this time, I'll ask our planner, Jordan, with her report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The application for three minor variances at 6738 Pheasant Lane was first heard by committee on May 6, 2025, and was deferred to allow the applicant to revise the proposal in response to staff recommendations. The applicant has since relocated the proposed detached garage into the rear yard behind the existing dwelling and agreed to remove the existing shed to reduce lot coverage and better align with the intent of the zoning bylaw. The site is sufficiently sized to accommodate the proposed structure while meeting all required setbacks. Relocating the garage to the rear yard minimizes the visual impacts and maintains the neighborhood character. A design graphic submitted by the applicant confirms that the proposed garage will reflect the style of the main dwelling, further supporting its compatibility with the surrounding neighborhood. Given the revisions to the proposal, staff are recommending approval of the three requested variances: an increase in maximum lot coverage for accessory structures, an increase in height clearance, and an increase in driveway width. The subject lands are designated and zoned to permit the proposed use, and the amended proposal is considered appropriate and desirable for the development of the property.
Great, thank you. Justine, anything to add?
Not really. I think she's covered it all. The reason we're asking for the variances is without the 2 extra feet of ceiling height, we're not able to get our trailer in there. So we really like to store that in there, and we also have a boat that we'd like to fit in there as well. So that's why we need the variances for the size, just so we can fit all of our things in there to store them.
Toys, your toys.
Toys, yeah. And then my kids can play basketball in our driveway instead of on the road.
Great. Mackenzie, did we receive any correspondence for this application?
Through the chair, we did not receive any correspondence in the application.
Okay, great. I will go to our committee. I'll start with my far left. Les, any questions?
No, I think some of the adjustments that was made from the deferral, I don't have any issue.
Deputy Mayor McEwen?
Question about the driveway. Does it meet the streets bylaw?
So, no, but what we found out over the last number of years is that the streets bylaw and the zoning bylaw do not actually jive. Because the zoning bylaw allows a secondary entrances within the set distance. So it has a calculation based on the frontage of the property, which allows so many entrances per feet of frontage. The streets bylaw, on the other hand, says one access. So as the zoning bylaw is the overreaching document in this situation, it was staff's opinion in the past that we will allow the zoning bylaw to stand, and the streets bylaw will have to be amended to reflect the zoning bylaw.
Soon?
Yes.
Any other questions? Jennifer?
I don't have anything.
Great. Thank you, Justine, for certainly coming back and taking the recommendations from the committee and as well from our planners. This time I'll read the motion. I have a motion by Jennifer Turk, seconded by Les Goldhawk, that the report by Jordan Wallace, planner, dated June 17th, 2025, be received, and that minor variance application A-0525 requesting relief from the town of Plympton-Wyoming zoning bylaw 97 of 2003 for the maximum total lot coverage and main floor ceiling clearance provisions for a detached garage, as well as a maximum driveway width for the total lot to be approved, subject to the following conditions. 1, removal of the existing 11.12 meter, 120-foot shed in the rear yard. Locate the proposed, number 2, locate the proposed detached garage in the rear yard to limit the visual impacts in the neighborhood and ensure that the structure is consistent with the established residential character of the area. Number 3, certified lot grading plan be submitted to the town of Plympton-Wyoming and approved by the town prior to permit issuance. Number 4, final grading plan certificate submitted to the town of Plympton-Wyoming upon final completion, and subject to the town final approval. Number 5, building permit required. Applicant to apply for a building permit and comply with all requirements as prescribed by the Ontario Building Code and to the satisfaction of the County of Lambton Building Services Department. Number 6, ensure new proposed driveway access are approved by the town of Plympton-Wyoming Public Works, and a copy of approval provided to the county building services. Number 7, ensure eaves troughs, downspouts, and grading are always maintained accordingly and within property boundaries, no exceptions. Number 8, to ensure the property is generally maintained and drained during the construction process, and that drainage waters are not diverted to neighboring properties, and that weeds and grass are always maintained within 20 centimeters, 8 inches or less. Number 9, a survey may be required at the property owner's expense if the setbacks are under scrutiny, and shall be at the property owner's sole expense. Number 10, for the detached accessory structure, no personal storage or personal storage and use only, no habitable space, no livestock permitted, and no commercial or industrial uses permitted. I will call the question. All those in favor? That motion is carried. So there's a 20-day appeal period. During that time, you can talk to Mackenzie or Jordan, and if you have any questions about any of that, you You can talk to them and they'll let you know what your next steps are. Okay, thank you. We've got another 4 or 5 minutes before we can start our next 4 minutes, actually. our Committee of Adjustments meeting to our next application. And we have a minor variance application number A-0825. Take notice that an application was made by T Boma Design Incorporated, agent for Claudio and Kelly Montanaro, with respect to the property known as Concession Front Plan 695 Lot 6, Town of Plympton-Wyoming, 3232 Devonshire Road. The subject property is zoned Environmental Protection Lakeshore EPL. The following variances from section 30.4I and table B of zoning bylaw 97 of 2003 have been requested for proposed addition to the primary dwelling. Number one, a variance of approximately 33.01 square meters, 355.31 square feet, to permit the gross floor area of all building on the lot to be approximately 433.36 square meters, 4,664.65 square feet, notwithstanding the maximum gross floor area of 400.35 square meters, 4,309.33 square feet. This is to recognize an existing excess of approximately 4.25 square meters, 45.75 square feet, and accommodate an additional gross floor area of approximately 28.76 square meters, 309.57 square feet for the proposed garage addition. Number two, a variance of approximately 3.5%, 36.16 square meters, 389.22 square feet, to permit the lot coverage of the dwelling to be approximately 23.5%, 247.16 square meters, 2,660.41 square feet, notwithstanding the maximum lot coverage of the dwelling of 20%, 211 square meters, 2,271.19 square feet. This is to recognize an existing excess of 0.7, so 7.40 square meters, 79.65 square feet, and to accommodate an additional approximate 2.73%, 28.76 square meters, 309.57 square feet increase in lot coverage to accommodate the proposed garage addition. This time I'll refer to our planner, Jordan, for her report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the application for 3232 Devonshire Road was previously deferred at the June 10th, 2025 Committee of Adjustment meeting to allow both requested variances to be reviewed together within a single consolidated report. The proposal seeks to permit an addition to the existing garage and recognize the existing excess in gross floor area above the maximum permitted under section 30.4 subsection I of the town zoning bylaw. As a result of the proposed increase in GFA, a corresponding variance is also required to address the total lot coverage of the dwelling, which exceeds the maximum permitted for the EPL zone as per Table B in the town zoning bylaw. The proposed addition is located landward of the most sensitive shoreline hazards, will not interfere with the access to the shoreline for maintenance or emergency purposes, and is not anticipated to alter or impact the established residential character of the neighborhood. The St. Clair Region Conservation Authority has reviewed the submission and has raised no objections. In addition to the input from the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority, the application has been reviewed against policy framework of the County of Lambton Official Plan, the Town of Plympton-Wyoming Official Plan, and the provisions of the town zoning bylaw. The proposal is found to be consistent with these documents and meets the criteria of the 4 tests of a minor variance under the Planning Act. Staff are satisfied that the proposal represents appropriate and desirable development of the property, and is in line with sound planning principles and supports the continued residential use of the property. As such, staff recommends approval of the requested variances.
Great, thank you. Travis, anything you want to add or to Jordan's report?
No, we obviously agree with the report because it makes a recommendation for approval. My clients have done more than their due diligence as far as the variance goes, and especially more concerning with the neighbors. They've done all the stuff. They've hired the surveyors, they've hired the grading plan. They were pouring a sidewalk today and they had the Ontario Land Surveyor on site to make sure that the form work could comply, that he could sign off on the grading plan. Like they've gone over and above everything. The neighbors have known since October that they are concerned with the property line, yet they refuse to hire their own Ontario land surveyor until now. I don't want to harp on this because I'm not sure, like I'm not trying to diminish them, but at the same time, I know that was one of the major concerns was the grading plan and the boundary. I have since sent it to Adam long ago, just making sure that it was correct documentation. But yet, you know, the neighbors still wrote in. I did forward that to Marty Nesbitt, who is the signing authority for Monteith and Sutherland. He is an Ontario land surveyor. He did comment on parts 1 and 2. Fairly offended by what they're accusing. I don't necessarily need to read it because we need to go that far, but essentially he's saying like this is a legal document, like, and I have the qualifications. And they themselves, the clients or the neighbors, they're the only ones questioning it. They haven't hired a professional to question it. So, and as far as privacy goes, that's not really in the bylaw. There is no concerns with that. Otherwise, there would be something in the bylaw saying you can't look over somebody's property. Anyways, if anybody has any questions, we're here to answer.
Okay, thank you. I know that we did get correspondence for this, and I believe our committee had the opportunity to read that correspondence. I will give James or Rima an opportunity if they're online. They're not joined? Okay. They had been given the opportunity online to I thought they were going to be online to talk about this, but we all received their correspondence. And it certainly was duly noted. At this time, I'll open the questions from our committee, and I'll start this time to my far right with Jennifer.
I don't have any.
Okay. Deputy Mayor McEwen.
Yeah, the survey, the side setback, was it measured from the fence or from the lot line?
Lot line.
Lot line.
The actual lot line.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Right now, thank you.
Les?
No, I think the question that I had last time was answered with the survey being certified, so.
My only question or comment, I know that if there is a disagreement with the boundary line, to me, that's a civil case. It's not anything to do with the Committee of Adjustments. I know in the correspondence, it was requested to wait a couple more weeks. I personally, I don't believe that would be fair to do that. As far as the drainage issue, I know that in our recommendations, part of drainage is looked after. So I'm hoping, obviously, if a grading plan is done and whatnot, if this goes through, that the drainage should be better than it was, I would assume, if there was an issue before. Go ahead, Travis.
And through the chair, I mean, we have to do, along with a proposed grading plan, we have to get it certified once it's completed. So again, the same OLS will show up on site to make sure that it is graded correctly. The main reason of being is draining away from the house, draining away from neighbors, draining to the corresponding spot. So he will not sign off until he's satisfied.
Okay. No other questions from our committee? Anything to add, Adam?
No, I think everything's been covered. Thank you.
Okay. I have a motion here by Jennifer Turk, seconded by Les Goldhawk, that the report by Jordan Wallace, planner, dated June 16th, 2025, regarding minor variance application A-0825, requesting relief from the town of Plympton-Wyoming zoning bylaw for the gross floor area and maximum lot coverage to permit an addition on an existing dwelling on the lands known as 3232 Devonshire Road be approved, subject to the following conditions. Number 1, certified lot grading plan be submitted to the town of Plympton-Wyoming and approval by the town prior to permit issuance. Number 2, final grading plan certificate submitted to the town of Plympton-Wyoming upon final completion and subject to town final approval. Number 3, written permission from the SC Sarnia St. Clair Conservation Authority be and approved St. Clair Conservation Authority permit required for the addition to the attached garage at the property owner's sole expense. Number 4, building permit required property owner to apply for a building permit and comply with all requirements as prescribed by the Ontario Building Code and to the satisfaction of the County of Lambton Building Services Department. Number 5, ensure eaves, troughs, downspouts, and grading is always maintained accordingly and within owned property boundaries, no exceptions. And number 6, ensure the property is generally maintained and drained during the construction process and that drainage waters are not diverted to neighboring properties and that weeds and grass are always maintained within less than 20 centimeters, 8 inches. At this time, I'll call the question. All those in favor? That motion is carried. As you've heard before, there's a 20-day appeal period. You can talk to our planner and our Mackenzie and Jordan if you have any questions during that appeal period of time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll pause again. We'll continue our Committee of Adjustments meeting. We have a minor variance application number A-0925. Take notice that an application is made by T Bowman Design Incorporated, agent for Chris Barnfeld, with respect to the property known as Concession Front Part Lot 2 of the 25R8580 Part 2, Town of Plympton, Wyoming 3043 Egremont Road. The subject property is zoned Environmental Protection, Lakeshore, EPL. The following variances from section 3.3.5 subsection I of the zoning bylaw 97 of 2003 have been requested for a proposed accessory structure, garage and enclosed porch. Number one, a variance of approximately 1 meter, 3.28 feet to permit the interior side yard setback to be approximately 1 meter, 3.28 feet, notwithstanding the minimum interior side yard setback, 2 meter to 6.56 feet. At this time, I will ask Jordan for her report.
Chair, the proposed minor variance application for 3043 Egremont Road has been reviewed for consistency with sound planning principles in conformity with the County of Lambton official plan, the Town of Plympton-Wyoming official plan, and the town zoning bylaw. Following a review of the proposal, it has been determined that the variance upholds the general intent and purpose of the applicable official plans and complies with the intent of the zoning bylaw. Furthermore, the requested relief meets criteria for a minor variance under the Planning Act. It is minor in scale, appropriate for the context of the site, and is not anticipated to create adverse impacts. The application was circulated to relevant agencies, no objections were received, and any recommended conditions have been addressed through the staff's review and incorporated into the recommendations. Planning staff are satisfied that the proposed variance is appropriate for the development of the property and recommends approval of the application.
Great, thank you, Jordan. This time, Travis, anything to add to Jordan's presentation?
Just a little brief explanation as to why we kind of want to kick it over. Essentially, they just want to get it out of the sight lines from the back of their house. Their garage is on that side, so if they could just slide it over a little bit, then yeah, it doesn't impede their view out the back. They don't have to stare at it all the time, and there's nobody next door essentially right now, so it's not really impacting everybody.
Mackenzie, did we receive any correspondence on this application?
The chair, we have not received any correspondence on the application.
Okay, this time I'll refer to our committee. This time I'll start with Deputy Mayor McEwen.
Yeah, there's lots of room there. I don't know why they need a variance. They can comply with all the rules without asking for a variance, except just because they want to. That's usually not why you get a variance. It's because you can't meet the setbacks, but they can. That's my comment.
I had similar comment. To what Nettie had just said, is that when I looked, like there's no neighbor next to him, but I had the same thought that there was plenty of room there to 1 meter wasn't gonna make or break to stay within the, rather than go for a variance.
Anything to add to that, Travis?
Yeah, like I said, the ultimate goal was just to kick it over slightly so they don't have to essentially look at it. You're right, we can slide it over, but I mean, along with, yeah, I mean, committee of adjustments is also, ideally we meet all the conditions. I love to meet all the conditions myself because I don't necessarily love coming to these committees because this is my 4th one today. But essentially sometimes to me, it's just sliding it over a little bit. It's in an agricultural zone, so I guess that's what probably kicks it over a little bit more, even though that's what makes it has the more setbacks because it's in the A. If it wasn't in the A, then it would be able to be slid over.
Through you, the chair. Yes, correct. The A2 zone does require a 2 meter setback, where residential zones only require a 1 meter setback from the side yards. The applicant did provide in the application that it is also to provide clearance between the main dwelling and the proposed garage. So that was also a reason of why they are requesting the variance.
So essentially, yeah, I mean, I chose the 1 meter thinking more of this as a residential. I realize it's zoned agricultural, but it's more in line with, I don't know what the other zonings are, but it's more in line with that type of property.
Jennifer.
I'm along the same, there's lots of room there to comply with 3 feet. So I say comply with 3 feet.
So I guess the question, Jordan, if they were to move it over, will it? There's nothing, I know when I look, should be no other issues by moving it over.
Through you, the chair. If when I did visit the site, it did look like there was limited space between the dwelling and where the proposed garage would be. The direct adjacent neighbors is currently farmland right now. I didn't see, in my opinion, that there would be any adverse impact on that land because of the 1 meter reduced setback. I didn't see, but you are correct, there is sufficient room to comply. It's right, based on what the application did say, it did say to provide clearance between the existing dwelling and where the vehicles would be driving.
Okay, committee?
So they're gonna go in the front anyway. There's just, if I may, here.
Yeah.
One thing we might consider, yeah, I hate doing this, but eventually this is gonna be zoned residential anyway. So that would reduce that side yard setback. And so you wanted to consider that. Put it over closer to on those tree stumps. Now, let me get the tree stumps out of there, of course, and
If it was residential, it would comply.
yeah. So that's
They
something.
wouldn't be asking for a variance. Is that correct, Jordan?
Through you, this property is zoned agricultural. I can only speak to what the zone is as of right now.
Yeah, but in the future, everything along there is gonna be residential, eventually.
Lakeshore.
So then they would comply. If it were residential, correct? If it were.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, like through the chair, the reason I picked the 1 meter is, to me, it was more in line with a residential lot, and it's also a building thing where in my experience in Lambton County, Plympton-Wyoming, and in talking with Corrine and her team, they don't actually want us to go where I don't want to go any closer than 1 meters, because basically they bring out a different book and we have to fire rate stuff and all that kind of thing. So essentially the 1 meters I encouraged them was A, thinking it was a residential, and B, that's the closest that the building department would allow before we get into like non-combustible siding, 45-minute rated wall. So essentially that's where I chose that number.
So
So what I'll do is I'll call the question, and it's up to the committee to decide what they want to do. So I have a motion here by Les Goldhawk, seconded by Nettie McEwen, that the report by Jordan Wallace, planner, dated June 16, 2025, be received, and that minor variance application A-0925 to permit the construction of an accessory detached garage on the lands known as 3043 Egremont Road, requesting relief from the following. 1, a reduction to the interior side yard setback of 1 meters, notwithstanding the minimum required setback of 2 meters as prescribed in section 3.3.5 of the town of Plympton-Wyoming zoning bylaws ZBL for lands zoned rural A2 be approved, subject to the following conditions. Number 1, certified lot grading plan be submitted to the town of Plympton-Wyoming and approved by the town prior to permit issuance. Number 2, final grading plan certificate submitted to the town of Plympton-Wyoming upon final completion and subject to the town final approval. Number 3, building permit required. Property owner to apply for all building permit and for a building permit and comply with all requirements as prescribed by the Ontario Building Code and to the satisfaction of the County of Lambton Building Services Department. Number 4, ensure eaves, troughs, downspouts, and grading is always maintained accordingly and within own property boundaries, no exceptions. And number 5, to ensure the property is generally maintained and drained during the construction process and that drainage waters are not diverted to neighboring properties and that weeds, grass are always maintained within less than 20 centimeters, 8 inches. This time I will call the question. So all those in favor? So that motion is carried. Once again, Travis, as you know, 20-day appeal period. You can have a discussion with our planners.
Thank you very much.
Testing. Testing.
Well, that's probably the guy.
We'll continue with our last application for this evening. Minor variance application number A-1125. Take notice that an application is made by Michael Rosehart with respect to the property known as Plan 448 Lot 32, Town of Plympton, Wyoming, 4360 Lambton Lane. The subject property is zoned Environmental Protection Lakeshore EPL. The following variances from zoning bylaw 97 of 2003 have been requested for a proposed detached garage. A variance of approximately 17 square meters, 182.99 square feet to permit the footprint of the proposed accessory structure to be approximately 47 square meters, 505.90 square feet, notwithstanding the required maximum footprint of accessory structures of 30 square meters, 322.92 square feet, as per section 30.5 subsection H. Number two, a variance of approximately 0.5 meters, 1.64 feet to permit the height of the proposed accessory structure to be approximately 4.5 meters, 14.76 feet, notwithstanding the required maximum height of detached accessory structures of 4 meters, 13.12 feet, as per section 30.5 subsection G. At this time, I'll refer to our planner, Jordan, for her report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the subject property is subject property at 4360 Lambton Lane is designated Lakeshore in the Town of Plympton, Wyoming official plan and zoned Environmental Protection Lakeshore EPL under the town's zoning bylaw. This designation applies to lands adjacent to the Lake Huron that are particularly vulnerable to natural hazards such as erosion, flooding, and poor surface drainage. The proposed garage is located landward of Shoreline Area 1 and the stable slope allowance plus the 60-year recession line, but within the Shoreline Area 2, which is defined by the stable slope allowance plus the 100-year recession rate. While the development of Shoreline Area 2 is typically discouraged, it may be permitted where adequate shoreline protection has been established. In this case, a permit for shoreline protection was issued by the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority in May 2024, and the applicant has confirmed that the protection works in form of an armored steel wall were completed in February 2025. The Conservation Authority has advised that these works must be in place prior to the construction and has stated that they have no objections to the location of the proposed garage or the requested minor variances. The proposed garage will be located in the front yard, specifically on the southwest portion of the lot. This location preserves the larger east side yard, which allows for the continued access to the shoreline for maintenance and emergency purposes. The proposed structure is not expected to restrict access or increase any existing hazard risks. The garage will function as an accessory to the existing residential use of the site and is designed to be compatible in scale and appearance with the neighborhood. Its size and placement are appropriate given the size of the property and the surrounding residential character. The application was circulated to all required agencies, including the town's Public Works Department, the County Building Services, Enbridge Gas, and the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority. No objections were received, and all comments and recommended conditions have been incorporated into staff's recommendations. Following the review of the proposal in relation to the county and town official plans and the applicable zoning regulations, staff are satisfied that the requested variances meet the 4 tests set out under the Planning Act. The application maintains the intent of local planning documents, represents sound planning practices, and is appropriate for the development of the land. Staff recommend that the application be approved.
Great, thank you, Jordan. At this time, I believe our Michael, you're online.
Hello.
Hi, anything to add to our planner's report?
I think they pretty much covered everything. I've made some revisions to it already, and the current 100-year line that goes through the garage there has been added to the drawing. Everything's good for you guys there to review. We're doing 1 garage instead of 2. I wouldn't even need a minor variance if I went for 2. We decided to do 1 slightly larger one as opposed to 2 side by side. I believe the lot coverage is around 3%, so it's well within the land's rules of 20%.
Okay, thank you. I will refer to our committee in a moment. Mackenzie, any correspondence for this application?
Madam Chair, we haven't received any correspondence on the application.
Great, thank you. I'll open for questions from our committee. I'll start to my right this time, Jennifer.
How many?
Deputy Mayor McEwen.
What's the front setback supposed to be?
Through the chair.
I think it's 4 meters and I made it 4.1. That's helpful at all.
4 meters is the reduced and then.
I'm gonna pull up table B of the zoning bylaw.
We got lots of time, Jordan. All right.
All right. Mr. Rhodes answered in.
What was section?
It's, sorry,
What was section?
30.5I. So just,
F.
This one is the one it applies to.
yeah, but then here, he's looking for this one. So.
You work. EPL.
Through you, the chair. So through or in table B of the zoning bylaw, the required setback is 6 meters, but the reduced is 4 meters. And within section 30.5 subsection I, the front, or sorry, provided that any accessory structure that is not located in the primary hazard area.
So he's in the 100, so it's okay.
Yeah, so he's
entitled to a reduced.
sorry, anything that's not within the 60-year area, which he's in the 100 area, is allowed to be within the reduced front yard setback.
So it's 4 meters.
4 meters, yes, and he's 4.1.
Yes. Changed it, he said. He must have been a little closer before, was he?
I think I was right on 4 and I adjusted to 4.1. So it's
Just to be safe?
just to be safe, just to be back a few inches, just to be safe.
Okay.
So through your chair, there was some discussion back and forth because the initial information that was provided in terms of the topographical lines for the 60-year and the 100-year, it seemed to previously indicate it was in the 60-year, but it was since confirmed with conservation and the drawing was revised to show it in the 100-year. So initially he was required to be more than the reduced and he could be less than the required. So the 4.1 came up at that point, but he is entitled to the 4 meters.
Anything else?
No.
Les?
Just a comment of about having 2 garages rather than just the one.
So I will, through the chair, address that. So there was a difference of opinion in terms of whether or not the way the regulations read and the way that it has been applied consistently is that only one detached accessory building is permitted in the EPL. However, the applicant took a different view in terms of the reading and interpretation of the regulations. And so it was brought forth to the senior planning official who felt at that time that there was a possibility for that interpretation. So this is why the applicant felt that the regulations were a bit vague and would allow for two, even though the interpretation from staff has consistently been that it's only one. So this issue will be dealt with through the amendment process to ensure that the consistent interpretation is maintained down the road. But this was assessed at the senior level, and so it was proposed that rather than do the two, that one structure be brought forth as opposed to the two, which would have equaled close to the number that he's looking for at gross floor area.
Anything else, Les?
I just thought it was a strange comment.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Rosard, it seems like you've been working with planning quite a bit for this application. We certainly like that. At this time, I will read the motion. Thank you. I have a motion by Jennifer Turk, seconded by Les Goldtalk, that the report by Jordan Wallace, planner, dated June 26, 2025, be received, and that minor variance application A-1125 requesting relief from the town of Plympton-Wyoming zoning bylaw 97 of 2003 for the maximum floor area and maximum height provisions for a detached garage be approved, subject to the following conditions. Number one, a certified lot grading plan be submitted to the town of Plympton-Wyoming and approved by the town prior to permit issuance. Number two, final grading plan certificate submitted to the town of Plympton-Wyoming upon final completion and subject to town final approval. Number three, building permit required. Applicant to apply for a building permit and comply with all requirements as prescribed by the Ontario Building Code and to the satisfaction of the County of Lambton Building Services Department. Number four, ensure existing proposed driveway accesses are approved by the town of Plympton-Wyoming Public Works and a copy of approval provided to the building services. Number five, written permission from the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority and approved by the St. Clair Region St. Clair Region Conservation Authority permit required for the construction of the detached garage and prior to any future development on the subject property at the property owner's sole expense. 6, shoreline protection must be in place prior to the construction of the proposed garage. 7, any portion of the existing gas service located beneath the proposed building must be relocated by Enbridge at the owner's sole expense. Number 8, ensure eaves troughs, downspouts, and grading is always maintained accordingly and within owned property boundaries, no exceptions. Number 9, ensure the property is generally maintained and drained during the construction process and that drainage waters are not diverted to the neighboring properties, that weeds and grass are always maintained within 20 centimeters, 8 inches or less. Number 10, a survey may be required at the property owner's expense if the setbacks are under scrutiny and shall be at the property owner's sole expense. Number 11, for the detached accessory structure, used for personal use only, no habitable space, and no livestock permitted, and no commercial or industrial uses permitted. At this time, I'll call the question. All those in favor? That motion is carried. Mr. Rosehart, I'm not sure if you heard, but there is a 20-day appeal period. During that time, before any construction can start, you can talk to Mackenzie and Jordan to find out any information about it. All right, committee, we'll continue our meeting. So we have some, once again, 5.1 in our business arising or old business, comprehensive zoning bylaw amendment. Any more news on that, Maria, or anything that you want to share?
Yes, through your chair. So we have received some information that staff are currently reviewing, some definitions and some other general provisions that we are reviewing. And then we will be providing a response back to the consultant on some of our concerns. And the process is moving forward.
Okay, any questions from the committee on that? 5.2 Parkland dedication fee for surplus farm dwelling severances. The staff report was submitted in our agenda. Did our committee have an opportunity to read that, and is there any questions?
Well, I can summarize the council's discussion on a
Yeah.
matter as it did go to council last meeting, if you like, Mr. Chair.
Sure. that'd be great.
So council did receive the report. The majority of council felt strongly that they agreed with the assessment of staff. And that they would prefer to carry on with the status quo. The majority of council felt that because a surplus farm dwelling does not create a new home, it is only separating the farm use from the residential use. That does not add an additional stresses to our parks and recreation infrastructure, and therefore they felt it should not be applied.
Okay. Any other business arising, Mackenzie, that's not on here? So we did get some correspondence, some recommended reading, farm lot size memo. Do we need to discuss that, or has everyone opportunity in it to read it, and is there any questions on that? Seeing none, I'll go on to new business. So I'll start with our planning. Any new business from our planning?
No, your chair.
Okay. Kenzie?
Nothing from you, Chair.
Okay. Adam?
No, sir.
Jennifer? Les?
No.
Nettie? Oh. And I have no new business as well. So other than, I believe Mackenzie has said for next, for August, we have at least 5 applications. Is that correct, Mackenzie?
Yes, we have 5. The deadline has passed. And there's no deferrals or anything coming back, so it will be set at 5. We'll have 5 for August. And Diane may be attending the August COA meeting as she'll be taking over for me in September.
What have you been doing? Standing out there waving them in?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's deciding to do everything now, apparently.
All right, I have a motion by Nettie McEwen, seconded by Les Goldhawk, that the Committee of Adjustment meeting be adjourned and the next meeting be scheduled for August the 12th, 2025 at 5:15. All those in favor? That motion is carried. Thank you very much to our planners, and thank you very much to our committee.